Welcome back, it's me, Lou. I'm here for another action figure unboxing and review, and today from Hasbro, we have the Marvel Studios Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. So this falls within Marvel, the Marvel Legends series. It's also from the Build-A-Figure wave, where you get all the different figures, and you could build up the character Atuma, also from Wakanda Forever. So this version of Prince Namor is portrayed by actor Tenoch Huerta. There he is right there. Nice illustration on the back. Beautiful likeness to the actor. He comes with an extra pair of hands and a spear. Alright, so let's get started. So I enjoyed Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. I did think Tenoch Huerta did a good job portraying Prince Namor, as they called him in the movie, but for me, he's always going to be Prince Namor. I was a huge fan of Namor in the 90s. He caught my attention during his series that was illustrated by artist Jay Lee, and then he later had a mini-series written by Bill Jamis, and I think it was under the Marvel Tsunami line. And during that series, it kind of captured Namor when he was much younger. And I thought that was like one of my favorite comic book series during that time period. Namor, for me, he's kind of like the supreme alpha male of like the Marvel universe. You know, in addition to being like one of the original, OG Marvel superheroes, he's also the original OG mutant. If you're an X-Men fan, you'll remember, he's been kind of a member of the X-Men on and off during the last, maybe like 12 to 15 years, I want to say. He's a dope dude. I like him a lot. And I'm curious to check out this figure. I'm not keen on the new style of packaging for Marvel Legends. Like, I know they're trying to be a little bit more environmentally conscious, but I don't know. I'm always kind of leery of buying these windowless figures just because you don't know what you're getting. Alright, so here's the Build-A-Figure piece for Atuma. It's his left arm. And we have the extra hands. We have the C-grip and the fist. The stock figure comes with both, the flat palms, if you want him to do the Macarena. But I want to take these off. Alright, let's get started. So immediately the first thing I noticed was that the likeness to actor Tenoch Huerta is really well done. It almost looks lifelike. It's crazy. Now that's one thing Hasbro does not disappoint in, at least in my opinion, is that they're really good at capturing the likeness of the actors. Also, just for the hell of it, here's some other Namor figures we're going to look at, in addition to this one. So I'll set these aside for now. Alright, so like I said, I think the likeness to actor Tenoch Huerta is really spot on. It just looks beautiful. Unlike, some other companies, Hasbro, they really nail the likeness for the actors most of the time. I wish I could say the same for McFarlane and their DC Multiverse line, but this one's so eerie. It looks like the real dude. It's crazy. And he comes with his spear, as you can see right here. Well crafted, a lot of detail. You have some nice engravings on the blade and also on the handle. And let's take a look at Namor up close. The jewelry is really well done. The paint application really accents the details. He has his earring. He has the pointed ear. The hair is well sculpted. It's really crisp. Nice details. The sculpting is a little soft on the jewelry, in my opinion, like on the bracers, on the belt. It's not as sharp and as clean as I'd like it to be. There's his ankles. He has the winged feathers. Alright, so this is me just being kind of like... Alright, so I'm a big fan of Namor in the comic books. And even though I did enjoy his performance, he wasn't as... this is me being superficial. He wasn't as ripped as I always imagined Namor. If you've read the comics, you know, he's kind of like the supreme alpha male. He like beds every woman he like comes across, literally. And there was a line in this one Fantastic Four miniseries written by Grant Morrison. And so Namor and Sue Richards, who's the wife of Reed Richards of the Fantastic Four, they've always kind of had this weird flirty attraction for one another. And in the comic book, I remember Sue kind of referring to like Namor as this being like, you know, nothing but like hormones, and then he was like kind of like this nothing but this like the epitome of kind of like male testosterone, because there was just something about his aura that was kind of like he has this like animal attraction. And that's, even though Sue's like happily married with Reed, Namor's kind of like one of those things that, you know, it's hard for her to resist, you know, someone of his charm and his looks. And even though I enjoyed Tenoch Huerta's performance, I kind of felt that he wasn't as buff and ripped as I'd like. You know, much like, you know, comic book Namor over here. But I did enjoy the movie a lot. I thought Prince Namor was, you know, it was done really well. I also enjoyed the fact that, you know, they kind of played around with his name. You know, it's Prince Namor. You know, he's the man with no love. So that's why he's called Namor, you know, short for No Amor. The figure's well done. It's well crafted. In some ways, it feels a little underwhelming. I kind of felt like they should have gave this guy maybe a couple more accessories, like maybe a ceremonial garb, like his headdress. This guy stands in at 6.5 inches barely. There's a budget figure that kind of has that gimmick headdress where I think if you squeeze his legs together, it kind of like opens up and reveals his head. Posability wise, we'll take a look at that. Let me get his spear in his hand first. Alright, so his head rotates. Does he look up? That's something I'm concerned with. No, doesn't. It's unfortunate because he is a flyer and also a, you know, a swimmer. So it'd been nice if you could like tilt his head back to get him in a flying pose or diving pose. It's very limited. His arms rotate. They go up. Surprisingly, there is no butterfly joint. So this guy's kind of very basic in terms of his articulation. He has a swivel mid-torso. No waist swivel, which is surprising. Legs kick up, legs kick out. About there. Very clean, pinless look, double pinned knees, ankle articulation, pinless elbows, very clean look also. So this is my issue. So with the recent increase in prices with Marvel Legends, I think this figure runs a little bit more than some of the other figures. I'm kind of disappointed that the articulation scheme is kind of minimized. You know, for most figures, you'll see not only the swivel at the torso, but the swivel at the waist. And you'll also get the butterfly joint most of the time nowadays. So it's kind of odd that he would be, you know, not have that. He does have a thigh cut, though. I prefer Namor, like, in full-on Speedos, like this guy. And I'm not a big fan of, like, the the bikers like he's wearing over here, or the boxer briefs. Pose wise though, I think, you know, you can get him in decent poses despite the limitations in articulation. You know, if he wants to enter the Olympics and throw the javelin, you know, go for it. Yeah, it's a nice figure. It's a tad pricey in my opinion. And, you know, for the amount of money I'm spending on this guy, I'd like him to be as articulated and as detailed as some of the other figures we've gotten in the past. You know, this one feels a little bit, they took a little cost-cutting measures, you know, in terms of the articulation. Don't get me wrong, it's beautiful, it's well-crafted, the detailing's there, but, you know, when you compare him to a much older figure like this guy here, you know, this guy has the ab crunch, the waist swivel, he looks more buff, he has articulation. So this is more old school comic book Namor, if you're into that. You know, this guy exists. I don't think this guy goes for a whole lot of money on the secondary market. He might have saw a slight price increase when they announced the movie, but I think, you know, this guy's still very affordable if you want to hunt him down. He kind of looks like Mr. Spock, Leonard Nimoy from Star Trek, especially with the haircut. And like I said, this is my favorite version of Namor, the one that's practically naked. So... But there's also another option as well. I think this one here was a Walgreens exclusive. I kind of use this Namor as my X-Men Namor. Different head sculpt, if you look at him. I like this head sculpt a lot. It's really wicked looking. He kind of has that Wolverine, Quicksilver kind of hair. He really sells his expression in his eyes. And the costume's pretty cool too. It's kind of like scale mail. You know, he's wearing this kind of like Nightwing, kind of like vest. You know, it's kind of like, I don't know if you remember Nightwing from like the 80s when he goes like disco Nightwing. You know, this kind of resembles that. And he still has the wings. The one thing I'll give the Tenoch Huerta Namor is that the wings here on his ankles are gigantic. I think that's such an improvement over these, where these are just baby wings. You know, these are like chicken wings that you get at Buffalo Wild Wings, and this guy's like full on like hefty wings. Look at that, those are giant, those look great. All right, so if you only needed one Namor in your collection, oh man, me being old school, I'd probably say this guy here. But now that I'm looking at this guy, even though he lacks the articulation scheme of like a modern Marvel Legends, and he's kind of like dumbed down in terms of like what he could do, I think this is still a very beautiful piece. It's a great looking figure. I like this a lot. But, you know, with the recent increase in Marvel Legends, you know, it's debatable whether or not you really need this. Unless you love the movie, or if you're just an MCU collector. You know, if you just collect the MCU figures, you know, this guy's then, I think, a must purchase. Alright, so let's wrap this one up. Once again, my name is Lou. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you're a returning viewer, subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. I greatly appreciate it. So, until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I'll see you at the next one. Alright, later.